You walk into a room and your brain instantly finishes scanning everything. Before a single person speaks, you have already decoded an avoided glance, a forced smile, and a tiny shift in someone's breathing. While outsiders might envy this sharp perception as a superpower, the internal experience is one of a psychological trap with no off switch. Consider a routine afternoon at work. Your boss sends a message at 4 o'clock. Come see me for a minute later. Others see a standard request. You sense an invisible coldness in the phrasing, dissecting every word and replaying a 3-second pause from yesterday to determine what went wrong. This reaction stems from the default mode network. This glowing map highlights the neural pathways responsible for reflection and self-referential thinking. In a typical brain, it pulses gently, activating mainly during rest. But here, the network remains locked in the on position, firing continuously. Because those firing patterns never settle, a standard social interaction becomes an overwhelming cognitive task. Half of you is nodding and drinking coffee, while the other half is forced to run hidden equations and compare micro details in real time. Every waking second is spent obsessively analyzing your surroundings. You feel entirely drained after sitting quietly in an office all day because your brain just finished running an invisible marathon. A sharp awareness of the world usually comes from one of two places. While some are born with high sensory sensitivity, for many others, this state is a dark inheritance of survival. It often begins in a home where the mood of the adults changes like the weather. To stay safe, a child in that environment must become a human radar station, constantly tracking unpredictable shifts in the emotional climate. In a chaotic home, the amygdala, the internal danger alarm, pulses bright red. To survive, it branches out, cementing thick neural lines to processing centers. The nervous system wires itself to predict disasters, like knowing by the sound of tires if an adult arrives drunk. This hypervigilance represents a highly successful biological shield, a survival mechanism that performed its job perfectly by keeping you alive in an unpredictable past. The difficulty begins when that shield enters adult life. The survival radar continues to scan, but it begins misinterpreting safe data, moving past simple observation into deep emotional absorption. You notice a friend's sadness, and your own neural mirroring system forces you to physically live inside of it. A friend discusses their divorce over lunch, and you carry the physical weight of that pain in your chest for 3 days. You become the emotional regulator, the perfect calming presence, a container for their waste. People enjoy your company. They finally feel understood, yet your own need for comfort goes entirely unseen. Absorbed emotions move straight into the body. This biofeedback flowchart shows how a minor input, like a cup of coffee, triggers escalating red warning modules. It compounds, showing cortisol levels spiking as the body floods with stress hormones over a normal physical sensation. Between absorbing external pain and misreading internal signals, the body remains under constant siege. You feel a persistent restlessness even when absolutely nothing is wrong. To restore order, the mind develops one final defense. It turns hyper-awareness into an armor of control, simulating every possible worst-case scenario to ensure you are never caught off guard by pain. You get trapped in a maze of assumptions. By living in 10 different versions of a disastrous future simultaneously, you enter a state of analysis paralysis. This scrutiny slowly strips away relational innocence. A compliment triggers a search for a hidden motive. An apology is viewed as a calculated tactic to de-escalate a situation rather than a genuine admission of fault. You successfully avoid being surprised by disappointment, but the trade-off is immense. By managing life like a high-risk project, you lose the ability to actually live in the present. Retraining a brain wired for survival takes time, and it doesn't mean blinding your high-resolution awareness. It starts by acknowledging that while you see everything, you no longer have to carry the weight of it. The first step is decoupling observation from personalization. If a friend replies slowly or a coworker doesn't smile, you can observe the fact while accepting they might simply be tired. Most silences have nothing to do with you. Next, you detach from physical sensations. When your heart races, you can acknowledge it as a biological reaction to stress without assigning a catastrophic meaning to the pulse. Finally, you learn what belongs to the world. Seeing someone's insecurity clearly is an insight, not an obligation to act as their therapist. You can notice a flaw and confidently choose to leave it alone. That same survival intelligence, once used as a defensive weapon, now serves as a quiet, warm instrument for understanding human fragility. You possess a profound, survival-forged intelligence. Once you stop using it as a shield against the world, that awareness finally allows you to experience the beauty of your life rather than just defending against it.